Hello friends, it is July 22nd and it is time for Wednesday Connections. As we all continue to stay isolated, so to stay healthy and are disturbed by the racism that is so prevalent, we now have the death of one of the most prominent and the country's greatest activists and nonviolent protester, Congressman John Lewis. Like you, I've been really drawn to all the programs and the news clips that's talking about his life. He is one of those figures whose legacy I think will endure for generations to come. John Lewis, and so much of what he said and did and talked about and wrote about, he was encouraging us to live our lives, to make them count for something as we live them. He talked about good trouble and how we must never be complacent in the face of injustice. The way John Lewis lived his life embodied the passage that most of us know from Micah chapter 6 verse 8 that says, "He has told you, O mortal, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? But to do justice, and to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God." A few weeks ago, Greg and I enjoyed watching the musical Hamilton, and I've talked with many people who did the same thing and have had quite an experience doing that. One of the final lines of the musical says, "History has its eyes on you." And what is history going to tell about your story? What a powerful statement, and what a powerful question. History has its eyes on you. What is history going to tell about your story? This has caused me to consider what kind of influence I am having on the people around me and the people I interact with all the time. What is history going to tell about my story? I think we need to ask ourselves that question quite often, especially today when things seem so unsettled. And we need to try to use that passage from Micah 6:8 to kind of keep ourselves in check. I'm wondering if you remember this book by Brian McLaren entitled "We Make the Road by Walking." I want to read to you the first couple opening paragraphs that he has in the preface, because I think it speaks eloquently to what I'm trying to say today when we try to consider how we live Micah 6:8. And we also consider that history does have its eyes on us. Listen to how he begins this incredible work. McLaren writes, "You are not finished yet. You are in the making. You have the capacity to learn, mature, think, change, and grow. You also have the freedom to stagnate, regress, constrict, and lose your way. Which road will you take? What's true of you is also true for every community of people, including our spiritual communities. Like the individuals who constitute them, they are unfinished and in the making. They have the capacity to move forward if they choose, and the freedom to stagnate and regress. Which road will they follow in the years ahead? Does their future depend solely on the action or inaction of officials in the headquarters of religious bureaucracies? Do the rest of us have to wait until somebody somewhere figures things out and tells the rest of us what to do?" McLaren goes on to say, "I believe that all of us play a role in choosing and creating our futures as individuals and as communities. We don't need to wait passively for history to happen to us. We become protagonists in our own story. We can make the road by walking. Growing numbers of us believe that we are in the early stages of a new moment of emergence, pulsing with danger and promise. In this catalytic period, all our spiritual traditions will be challenged and all will change, some negatively and some reactively, tightening like angry fists and other positively and constructively, opening like extended arms. More and more of us want to participate in that positive and constructive opening. We want to explore new possibilities, to develop unfulfilled potential, to discover new resources, to bless, inspire, and enliven. We don't shrink back from this moment. We feel God is calling us to walk into it with faith, hope, and love. Friends, we are living in very trying and very unusual and unsettling, to say the least, times. We can't shrink back. We got to be part of the answer, and embrace the faith, hope, and love that McLaren talks about here. So may you open your arms wide, your minds wide, your hearts wide, and give so that we can be those transforming agents so needed in a hurting world. I hope to see you again really soon, and I really miss you.